Cool.
We are live. Claret News episode. This is the third episode? I think it's the third episode.
The third.
Yeah.
That's right. Return of the Jedi. Return of the same old bollocks.
Yeah. Justin and Matt here from Chicago. As always, we bring up some articles after the articles talking about the last West Ham match and other things related to West Ham. And as Matt mentioned, It is pretty much of the same old. You can tell that I'm a little indifferent this episode because it really is the same old stuff. And I'm sure Matt and I will be repeating ourselves. So last match, as we all know, it was West Ham 1, Arsenal 3. West Ham scored in the first half. I forgot exactly what minute it was, but it was Angelo Ogbonna. It was almost disallowed. I think it was a good decision to not disallow it. And then
I agree. It was a goal. 100%.
Yep, I agree. And then went into halftime with the lead, and then Arsenal still weren't doing much until their first goal, which I forgot the minute to. It doesn't really matter. And then in the next
60, it's like the 59th or the 60th minute.
Yeah, it was right on the hour mark. It was Martinelli, I believe. I was just open play, nice little counterattack, easy peasy. And then 2 more goals after that within the next 10 minutes, 3 goals in 10 minutes, including a Nicolas Pepe goal from just inside the 18 on his left foot. And then a Aubameyang volley for the third and final goal. And that was really all she wrote. West Ham didn't look like they were going to even get a second after that. And it's another loss. Matt, what
another loss.
Say? Yeah.
What do I say? Do you know what? I think it's one of those things where I really thought, generally, for the first 60 minutes, I thought we were decent. I did. I thought that you watched that opening 5 or 6 minutes of that first half, and they had an awful lot of the ball in their own half, but we were pressing them, didn't give them any space, kept them pinned in. Antonio is doing an awful lot of work up front. The 3 behind him are pushing on, and we made them uncomfortable, and we took the game to them. So I actually thought, tactically, at first, we got it bang on. Then they score, and the team and the confidence drained out of everybody. And then it was basically do it your lifetime. And I think it's just almost that game completely epitomises what's been happening to us as a club over the last couple of years. Yes, we've had some great results this season, and last season. We beat Chelsea 1-0 this season a couple of weeks ago. Everyone was like, great, Last year, beating Man United, beating Arsenal, okay, great, And then we fall to bits and it all goes terribly wrong. And the same thing happened last night. Now, if you look on that, you got there now, that SB Nation article, which I thought was a good one. There on that first paragraph about us, it starts update from the All England Apology Championships, which again just shows you've got 2 teams who are absolutely all over the place. 1, 2, 3. The 4th paragraph down says Arsenal's win came after a good solid hour of Arsenal losing in that abject, disjointed, have these people ever met before fashion that we all know and most of us enjoy laughing at. Not surprising in itself, there's a reason they sacked their manager and appointed the comfort blanket. And they look miserable. And they did. I thought Arsenal did look poor. I thought we were good. They were poor. Fair point. Right. This article then goes on and says, luckily, if you're ever feeling bad about yourself, West Ham will soon be along to fall over in front of you and make things feel okay. Feeling down, Gabriel Martinelli? Here, have an untroubled jog into the penalty area. Worried about life, Nicolas Pepe? Why not cut inside on your left foot? There you go. Better. Lovely stuff. And so after 90 minutes, the prize for the sorriest collection of footballers in the Premier League this week goes to West Ham. Christmas is a time of giving, and they truly are the gift. I mean, that to me is that is cutting, right? We were in control of the game, and then like that, our heads have gone. We've fallen apart, and that first 60 minutes to that last 30, it's just unbelievable. I mean, can you remember? I just can't. Just a total collapse. A collapse. And is that a confidence thing? Is that a tactics thing? People we just run out of steam and ran out of engine? We just fell to bits.
Yeah, I think all everything that you said, tactics, confidence, fitness, all plays a part in here. You were also asking me if I think you were about to ask me if I remember a time like that. This has reminded me,
yeah,
and specifically the collapse, just the utter collapse so quickly. It's reminded me of the end of the billet train, where we would actually play okay in the first half. We never were really short of goals with Bilic, but our defense just would crumble either in quick fashion, like we saw on Monday, or slowly over the game due to a lack of fitness. And I think tactically as well, as I mentioned, the tactics at first were good. We were pressing up top, like you said.
So, yeah.
Antonio was all over the place. Yeah. But as you and I both know, the pressing did not last the entire 90 minutes. Why? You could probably make an argument for fitness or effort. Also, up 1-0 and even tied 1-1 when we could still get something out of it, we continued to play a wide open, spacious game, allowing them to counterattack with 3-on-4s and 4-on-4s and 5-on-4s against us. And when you have players of the quality of Aubameyang and Pepe, who, by the way, is left-footed, Arthur Masuaku, you're going to allow goals like that to happen. I couldn't even tell you on that second goal how many times I screamed at the TV, force him on his right foot, force him on his right foot, force him on his right foot. And what does that winger, he's not a defender, what does that winger do? He lets him go on his left foot. I don't know what else to say, man.
I think that's the thing. I think that sometimes it's sort of like that is really basic, right? And you don't even have to know that. You don't even have to be practicing that, because he should know, I can't let him inside me. I can't let him on his left foot. And it's a good finish, but he shouldn't even be allowed to have the shot. He's given too much space and too much respect in the box. It just feels like, in my opinion, we ran out of steam. And the players that have been tearing around the place, Antonio and Noble, their legs went, and then everybody else it just struggled. Snodgrass really slowed down for me. There was one breakaway chance he had there when he held the ball up a little bit too much. I think we just ran out of steam. So again, is it now a case that we don't have the squad so that we can play the system when we are pressing? It is going well, but let's make a change now before that happens. Is it a case that people we go, all of a sudden it's 1-1? It was 1-1 at home against Arsenal, and everyone just went, oh, well, fuck it. Like, what is going on there? Why is it like, okay, fucking hell, lads, 1-1, disappointing, right? But come on, let's get back into it. We've been all over them, I just don't, I don't get it. So, what's that one there? Is that the ESPN one you got up there?
Yeah, and before we go on to this article, though, I do want to say one thing. There was, I can't remember the specific instance, but it was 1-1. And I remember, again, Arsenal was on the counterattack, wide open spaces. They didn't score on this attack, but I remember Mikel Antonio, the guy who just came off a 3-month layoff because his hamstring muscle got torn off the bone, is sprinting his ass back to help the defense, who are
all the way back.
Was Felipe Anderson doing that? No. Snodgrass was, but he's not as fast as Mikel Antonio. Fornals was. No, but I guess what I'm doing is I'm calling out Felipe Anderson. I think he was atrocious yesterday. I think he has no confidence.
Yeah.
I also think there's a bit of an attitude shaping up there. The tracking back is not nearly consistent enough, and I think he should be benched. Just wanted to put that out there before we move on.
I think. I mean, but this is the problem: is that we've almost got. There's almost a wider problem here. This conundrum, where there are players at the club who are good players, right? I don't think there's any doubt that Anderson is a good footballer. He's a good quality footballer. But you look at the likes of him. You look at the likes of Allaire, who's almost disappeared. He's not even getting a start anymore. We must be the only club in a club of our size that spends £45 million on a player, and then 3 months later after arriving, he's sitting on the bench because we've got no vision and no direction as a team. We've got it's just the quality is there, but like something is going so wrong with this team. And I mean, this is the thing. Is it a case of you can bench him, but when you bench him, who do you then bring in? You can't bring it, because if it's this thing where we are going to press, Yarmolenko can't do that because he's not got the energy or the pace to do it. But this is what should have happened. If people are tiring, then he should have brought Yarmolenko on. Then he should have brought. Do you know what I mean? He waited. The substitutions happened too late, in my opinion. I mean, that ESPN article there, it says it's a fair way down. But I'll just read it for people at home. It says, this is from Lundberg, right? He's the interim Arsenal manager. He says, in the first half, we were slow, lethargic, which comes from players who have got no confidence, Lundberg said after the game. Then we saw West Ham get a bit tired and get a bit low, and we sliced them open in the second half. And that is absolutely true, right? They took complete advantage of us falling to bits. I can't believe it. I didn't really know what to expect out of this. But it's just same old. It's just same old. It's just patchy. Yeah, a bit of decent football here, and then fall to bits.
Yeah.
But again, you said about changing things around. I thought he has changed things around a bit, but I really this is a problem. I don't know what the answer is. I don't think anyone knows what the answer is. Apart from almost scrapping the whole experiment and starting again.
Well, if there's a loss to Southampton,
he's gone.
I mean, he has to be, right? Like, I thought that there was a chance he would be gone after Arsenal, just the way we lost. I'm not shocked that he isn't gone, but I definitely wouldn't have been shocked if he was. I would be angry and very surprised if not only if we lose to Southampton, if we can't get a win. I think we need to win. We need to win.
We need to win. The league table tells us we need a win. I think it's one of those things where, listen, I think we spoke last week about how, if you look at the points difference between where we are on the table and where 10th is in the table, right? There's not a lot of points in it. Very little. But the form we are in and the level of confidence we have got all point in one direction. And that is us being in serious trouble. Now, I remember when we went down in the early 2000s with a team that included, Jermaine Defoe and Frederic Canute and Michael Carrick and Paolo Di Canio and players like that, right? And we said at the time, I remember saying it, we're too good to go down. The squad is too good, we'll be fine. And we got caught. And we got caught because we left it too late. So us sitting here saying there are players of quality and there are issues to be fixed, right? Missing Fabianski has been a problem. It's not the reason why lots of things are going wrong. But we really can't afford to wait on this too long. I tell you what, that Southampton game is coming up, right? Never mind that. We are lucky that Liverpool game has been postponed over Christmas, because if we were to play them now, they would absolutely shred us to pieces. We've just lost 3-1 to a piss poor Arsenal team, right?
Yeah,
bang average Arsenal team. We've got no direction, no idea what they're doing. We are lucky we're not playing them after Southampton, because they would murder us.
Yeah, an Arsenal team that, from a lot of the fan videos I was watching, an Arsenal team that people kept consistently saying the worst Arsenal team they've ever seen.
I mean, it's not a great Arsenal team. It's not. I mean, is it the worst ever? I don't know. I mean, I think they've been very lucky over the last 25 years.
It was their worst run of form since 1977.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you know, you can't say it. Do you know, I tell you what, if you've got I don't know if you've got it there, because I found this as well. It's an Arsenal website, justarsenal.com. And they had 5 points about the West Ham game. Now, point number five says, the first half was woeful and there will be better teams than West Ham. We cannot allow the second half to mask over the problems that clearly still remain. Right? So just speaking to your point there, these are fans that also know that their club is all over the place, also know they're in serious trouble. And they almost feel the same sort of thing as we do, is that they've papered over the cracks a bit with us as a win, just like we did a couple of weeks ago, beating Chelsea, papered over the cracks, just bought some extra time. So by their own admittance, they know how bad they are. And they've come to us, and that last half an hour, well, like Lundberg said, they sliced through us. They were ruthless.
Yeah.
And we were toothless. It's just, I really don't know. Yeah, okay. But it's the thing. We win against Southampton, and then what? Does he stay?
I mean, you going to fire a guy after a win? Probably not.
But again, it's a trend. It's almost like some sort of like old racehorse just limping about the place. Do you know what I mean?
I know. It's like
he needs to get out of his misery.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
I know what you're saying.
I get what you're saying. I mean, when you ask me if he wins, does he stay? I'm just predicting that yes, he would stay. I don't see a manager getting sacked after winning, but I certainly agree with you that it certainly just papers over the cracks. It's not, one win, as we've seen, doesn't fix things. Sometimes it can spur some things on, but it obviously hasn't here. I sort of wish he was just sacked at this point. It's just so draining to follow this team and to watch them, and it's like so predictable and boring to watch. It's like go down the wing, pass it to the wing, look, pass back, pass sideways, pass to the side, look, don't cross the ball in, pass. I mean, it's the same fucking shit. It's so boring, and it's so
it's almost like this is like West Ham in a nutshell, isn't it? It's like beat Chelsea, okay, things are on the up and down. And then that's boiled down to, on the pitch. This is the thing. Teams must look at us and think we know exactly how they're going to play, exactly how they're going to set up, etc., etc.
Yeah, I know.
There's no plan B. The thing about Bilic in that first year and why we were probably so successful is that we would be losing 1-0 or we would be 2-1 down or whatever it was, and they'd be like, okay, bollocks, let's change things around, let's try and nick the game here, let's try and score a goal, etc., etc. You look at the results in that season, and the amount of times he was like, let's just go for it. He was fearless, right? Some of that then went because he had to probably be a bit more conservative with the move and make sure certain things didn't happen. And then let's not go into we're losing Payet, but let's not go into all that. But like, there is no plan B with this. He's got no plan B. It's just outdated. Round and round we go. I mean, you said this thing about sacking him or not sacking him after a win. Do we really feel that the board, those three monkeys in charge, actually believe he can turn us around and actually believe he can deliver, that this manager can deliver European football just like they promised? Do they honestly think that?
No, I hope they don't. And I honestly think they're currently...
What are we doing?
I personally think they're currently looking to figure out who they're going to put in charge. Because I think we all fully expect to not get a victory at St. Mary's. And it's definitely more likely that we'll lose. I think this week they are looking. They are probably probing, maybe have even reached out to a couple guys to say, listen, we just want you to know that I think, we're going to make a change. Are you interested? Would you want to come? Because you need to have at least, even at the very least, a caretaker plan in charge. So you have to get that sorted out at the very least. So I would be very disappointed in them if they're not at least doing that. Which I think one of these articles, doesn't it talk about how they're lining up replacements?
There's an article in the Mirror about the lineup replacement.
And Chris Hughton.
I mean, to be fair, if that's their idea of a replacement, there's no point in sacking him, because anybody who thinks that bringing back David Moyes or bringing in Chris Hughton is a way forward is delusional. It's just a madness. I think, we this team, they have spent money, right? They have spent money on players. I think that we can now start to accept that they might have spent the money on the wrong sort of players. There's no doubt when Allaire was over in Germany, he was a decent player, but it doesn't fit our system. So what we're doing, it's just the Chicharito mistake all over again, right? It's the like when we had Randolph and Adrian and Adrian and Randolph and Randolph and Adrian and Adrian and Randolph, where we didn't know what we were doing goalkeepers. We've fallen into the same trap again. It's this issue with Masuaku, Cresswell, Marku, round and round we go. We keep repeating things over, and we keep making the same mistakes round and round and round. And there are players there in the likes of Rice and Noble and Antonio and Fabianski, that you've got the basis of a team there, as Lanzini, Anderson, when he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. You've got some of the basis of a team there. We should be trying to build around what they can do. And instead it's just like, I will just keep changing fullbacks all the time. I will change fullbacks over. Like, that's my big concern for them as owners, is that there's no vision, that they haven't got a clue about what they're doing. Not a clue.
Which is why I think the fans were clamoring for a director of football. And I mean, I think we've all been led to believe that Mario Huselos and Manuel Pellegrini have been in charge of transfers, which I'll say, besides getting the David Sullivan to say, yes, I'll spend that money for that player, I think Mario and Manuel have been in charge. So in that respect, I don't blame the board, because they hired that director of football, and that's what we all wanted them to do. And we were all praising the signings when they happened. We all were. The Hilaire signing, amazing.
Fair comment. Yeah. Great signing. Why wouldn't it be?
Yeah, and I was.
And we find out we don't know what to do. And then we find out we don't know what to do with him. This is. It's just like a PR exercise by the club. They spent all this money because we were desperate to get a striker in. And the Gomez deal doesn't happen. Yeah. Because again, there was that thing about the release clause, and they wouldn't quite match his release clause, so we're trying to do it on the cheap. And then we had this almost a PR exercise. I feel really sorry for Allaire. I generally do feel really sorry for him, because he's a young, talented footballer who's doing well in Germany, and he's come here.
He's getting paid a lot of money. I don't feel that sorry for him, but I understand what you're saying.
Well, he has been sold an absolute fib, the poor geezer. He's been told he's going to come here, be a talisman striker. We're going to play around you, this, that, and the other. And instead, he's sitting on the bench. For Antonio, and I love Antonio to pieces, right? But you look in that first, whatever it is, 5-10 minutes, when the ball just across to Antonio at the box, and he has that shot, and it goes rose Z. How many times has he done that?
And that was on his right.
Yeah, exactly. That was his good foot. Because that's not what he does. This is the thing. And that's more like patchwork type stuff going on. The whole squad is just like, okay, we've been Lanzini unlucky with injuries. We've been unlucky with the goalkeepers, but whatever else. But like, it's just patchwork from top to bottom. And it needs someone to come in who's gonna say, I'm in charge now, this, that, and the other. Now, that Mirror article says it's going to cost us 10 million. We have to pay the remaining 18 months on Pellegrini's £10 million a year contract if he exacts, and that doesn't even include his backroom staff, right? So it's going to cost us a lot of money to get rid of him. But we might as well do it now and get it over and done with, because the alternative is just to kind of hop along, and at this point, just kind of hope that results get better, and that all of a sudden the results improve. Because I can't see That Southampton game, you and I are talking about, that is like the Arsenal team's a poor Arsenal team. That is a really poor Southampton team, right? And you and I are sitting here umming and ahhing about if we're going to get a result.
I don't think we will. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I don't know what to do. I think that's the most frustrating thing about this whole situation is that we're not really sure what's gone wrong, just because heading into the season, the expectations were so high, and we really thought this team was, too
high.
Yeah, they turned. I mean, I remember talking with some people. Some people were saying, "Can we get top 4?" I was like, "Chill out." I was hoping for 8th. That was my expectation, and maybe a few more points than last year. Maybe a nice little cup run, just to build upon it. But I mean, right now it's survival mode, man. Right now it is simply survival mode.
It is survival mode, and again, we just have to get it right. I think there are lots of things wrong. There are lots of things really, really wrong at West Ham. I mean, it annoys me when people kind of take it to the extreme. I saw on Twitter today someone saying yesterday, someone saying, what a terrible club we are. This, the other. We're not a terrible club, right? We're not a terrible. If people have got short memories, what it was like, 25, 30 years, how bad it was under Roda, how bad it was. When Ken Brown was in charge, etc., etc. That was when it was a real shambles. The issue is that we were told about the move. This was going to be next level. We bought a manager in quality. We've spent some money on players. We can talk about net spend and whatever else. But we have spent some money on players, and compared to other teams in the league, big money on players, and it's all gone wrong. Is it just the reality that this is just a glass ceiling for us, that we're always just going to be up and down, and that next step is beyond us? Or is it just that we just need a complete shift, and we need somebody to come in, director of football, whoever it is, and say, this is how we play at West Ham, and I'm going to set it up. And when this manager inevitably gets sacked, because managers get sacked, the next bloke that comes in has to play this style of football, has to play the way we're trying to play, has to build a team that we're trying to build. Or is it just every 2 or 3 or 4 years, it's just start again, make the same mistakes with fullbacks, make the same mistakes with attacking players, make the same mistakes with signing? We just need some direction. And my major concern is I don't know where that comes from.
Yeah, it certainly isn't the the first option you put, where you have a director of football, and no matter who the manager is, this is the style that we play, because Mario and Manuel will be attached to the hip. When Manuel gets sacked, Mario will most likely leave. At least I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I think also it's become very clear. I thought Manuel had a vision. I thought his experience would help get the best out of our attacking players, and I think we need to build. I think we need to build from the back. I think we have solid center backs. Need to look at the fullbacks, especially left back. Cresswell's decent, but he has too many fitness problems. So we need to build from the back. When I was talking to Roshane Thomas from The Athletic, he was saying, he was comparing the amount of money that we've spent on defenders compared to other teams not in the big six, but teams like for example, Tyrone Mings, £20 million on a defender. I mean, I know we spent 23 on Issa Diop, but that's the only one really. Fredericks was on free. Masuaku was $4 million. Zabaleta on a free. Cresswell was a long time ago. I can't remember what. Balbuena was £6 million.
Right, 3 or 5 million, not much.
Yeah. So I think we need to build from the back, and that identity, that culture. I've been stressing it. It needs to be from a young up and coming manager. It needs to be, and I don't know who would want to come to this club right now, but it needs to be. I know you're an Eddie Howe guy. I
am, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think he would be a decent choice. It certainly would be intriguing, but I don't know. It can't be something. As this goes on more and more, I don't know if it can be Rafa Benitez long term or someone like that.
It's interesting. I think I saw the Benitez.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to also mention, I was looking at previous seasons on my other screen. So we have 16 points after 16 games. And last year, even with the horrid start that we had 21 points after 16 games. So definitely mile. I mean that 5-point gap's massive. And then also in the season that Bilic got relegated, we had 13 points after 16 games, only a 3-point difference. And then the season before, the first season at the London Stadium, where we also had 16 points after 16 games. This is emergency. This is red alert. This is survival mode, period. I don't care really. Like, the future of West Ham can be determined in the summer. And right now, it's simply survival mode. Simply.
I think it's interesting as well. This like survival mode. So that's big changes, right? I was talking to somebody today who's an Everton fan, and he made the point that we've just obviously you've got Arsenal who are looking for a full-time manager now, right? Because Emery's gone. You've got Everton who are looking for a full-time manager, right? Because they've just sacked the gaffer and they've got Duncan Ferguson in charge. We're still going to be looking for a full-time manager. I really feel that you've got 3 clubs there, or specifically, or us and Everton, 2 clubs there in a really similar position, right? With same sort of money to spend, same sort of size club with a loyal fan base. They're building a new stadium. Obviously, we've got a new stadium. In my head, we've got to move quick, because what will happen, or what could happen, is that some of these names on this list, if this list exists, whether whoever it is, if that's British managers or managers from Europe, whoever it is, Everton must have a very similar list. Arsenal, some of the names are going to be on their list as well. If it's going to happen, we've got to do it quick, because otherwise we're going to be left with the scraps, right? Whoever didn't want the Everton job, whoever didn't want the Arsenal job, do you know what I mean? We're going to be left with, oh yeah, okay, you'll do. Because our first choice will have already gone, our second choice, do you know what I mean? Things need to happen now. Okay, we're at a disadvantage because those clubs will be looking. Duncan Ferguson ain't going to get that job at Everton full-time, and Lundberg ain't going to get that job at Everton full-time. So if the board are looking, they almost need to do what happened at United, where one day someone gets booted out and the next day someone comes in. It needs to be happening quick. I mean, that one you've got the Daily Mail article, and just for the sake of looking at football, obviously the rest of the paper is absolute garbage. But again, they're naming Eddie Howe, Chris Hughton, Sean Dyche, David Moyes, and Chris Wilder among the names being considered. Rafa Benitez is viewed by the board as being the dream appointment, but the Spaniard insists he will not leave his job in China with Dalian Yunfang. I think also the big reason why that one won't happen is because his buyout clause is like something outrageous, like 15-18 million pound. And our board loves to do things on a cheaper bit. I'm going to spend that much money to just get the manager and then pay his wages on top. So that's why Benitez just won't happen, because of that reason. I mean, it could prove me wrong, but I can't see it. So then it's a case of, some of those other managers on there. But again, are we likely to get Eddie Howe mid-season? You said last week, no. Are we likely to get Chris Wilder mid-season? I would say, why would he? Right, he's been allowed to do what he wants at Sheffield United. He's building a team. David Moyes,
by the way,
I would. I mean, do you think he'll come mid-season though?
Oh, no to him coming mid-season. Yeah, no to that. Yeah.
No, not going to happen, right? So part of me thinks already, if we're whittling down that list, and who knows, things could happen. Money talks, and we could pay him more than he's earning there. But Moyes would be a step backwards. I don't know how people feel about Dyche. I mean, and these are all, these are predominantly, well, apart from Benitez, British names that keep coming up. Whether they're looking, I mean, you just like to think the board are also looking further afield. For
David Moyes, I want to speak on David Moyes for a second. This is why I think it will not happen. I personally do not believe that David Moyes would want to sign another 6-month contract, or until the end of the year contract,
right?
Just to be fired again for some other guy. And I first of all, I'd be shocked if this appointment happened in the first place, but even more so, I'd be shocked if they gave him a long-term deal. Like, that's just not going to happen. The fans would, go ballistic. Now, on that note, let me just say something here. As much as David Moyes is maybe a little outdated, a dinosaur in and of himself in terms of tactics things that are Everton, but that was a long time ago. Let's not forget, he came in this club and he kept us up. And for as many people as that rag on him, I just want to remind people of that. He came in here and he significantly improved the team. He got him fit. He put Marko Arnautovic up top, and that was a wonderful tactical move. And let's just not forget, all right, that David Moyes came in here and he did the job that he needed to do, and we were pretty safe. We were safe with 5, 6 games to go. So I just want to put that out there. I think there could be much worse appointments than David Moyes. I'm not saying I want to see David Moyes. Just want to put that out there.
I think what the thing is, like, I agree with you. He's probably not going to take another 6-month contract because he probably knows that he'd do it 6 months and then he would go. I think it's interesting. Was he hired the job to do? Yeah, his basic job was to come in and make sure it didn't go really, really wrong. But this is the other one. Son, is it? That was we did that years ago. Again, it's this whole thing about repeat. Oh, yeah, like sure. A broken tape. But would he be? I can't see. I really can't see people just stomaching David Moyes coming back to the club. I just think it would just be, again, for a board, right, that are now under the cosh. Because it's all gone wrong and it's all gone wrong again. They need to get somebody. They're going to need to fix it and get it right. Yes, they're not going to break. I can't see them breaking Benitez's release clause, but they're going to need to get somebody in there to look. Now, what I'm just going to have a quick look at here is odds of next West Ham manager, and let's see if there's anybody on this list here that we haven't mentioned, because where are we? Betfair. It'll be interesting to see if I can access this website from the United States. Not really. It's all the same people. Eddie Howe and Chris Hughton are both joint favourites at 13-5. Benitez at 7-2. But apparently they're linking here that Benitez could go to Arsenal. Moyes at 7-1. So yeah, it looks at the minute that I'm not seeing any other names here. So it's just such a small pool, isn't it? It's just such a small pool. Sean Dyche, Martin O'Neill. I'm looking
at a site, and Slaven Bilic is 10th highest odds.
Yes, Slaven Bilic 25-1 on odds checker.
Yeah.
Lee Bowyer is an interesting one, a really interesting one. I don't think he's ready. I think he's not quite got the experience. I'd love to see Lee Bowyer at the club. Javi Garcia is here on Betfair and BetVictor, and Paddy Power all at 20-1.
Do you see O'Neill at all?
And then you get into the kind of the silly Unai. Yeah. Do I see
Martin O'Neill?
I do see Martin O'Neill on a couple. Yeah, on Sky Bet 20-1, Betfair 16-1, BetVictor 14s, Paddy Power 16. So his name has popped up. Diego Kovac is here. I mean, that's not going to happen. Paul Lintz, that's an interesting one.
Yeah. Scott Parker.
Unai Emery 25-1 with Sky Bet. Chris Wilder comes up a lot. So
I did not want Unai
Carlo
Emery.
Ancelotti, who now is without a job, right? No. Do you know what? But this is the thing. I remember before we appointed, was it Moyes? Emery, because Emery was wherever he was before he was at PSG, was a name that came up. I would have been interested in. I just think there was. Where are we? There was one other one on there I thought was. I mean, again, right? None of these are going to happen, and we're going to end up with Alan Kirbishley back at the club. Carlo Ancelotti is an interesting one. He's now without a job after being given the elbow by Napoli. Mikel Arteta, that's not happening. So you think, I don't know. Yeah, you look down that list there, and there's only really, I mean, the strong favourites here are Eddie Howe, Rafa Benitez, Chris Hughton are above the others. So that's what the bookies are saying. William Hill's got Eddie Howe at 11-10. Sky Bet at 7-4. So I don't know, but I'd be interested if they go for. Is it going to be a short-term thing, or are we going to try and aim long-term? Are they going to do, like you said, a Moyes type deal? Let's just try and get through the season. It's been a disaster, and then readdress it, try and fix it in the summer, or are they just going to get their checkbook out and go for a permanent fix if there is one? I don't know. That's a big question, really. And a lot of this all depends on. And again, like you said, if he's there on if a result happens on Saturday. Will he still be in charge? We've got that window, haven't we? We haven't got the Liverpool game, thank God. We'll have those after that Southampton game. We've got the 12 days then to figure it out. So almost I feel if he's going to go, he's got to go there, because otherwise we're into the Christmas fixture list again. Round and round we go. It'll be too busy to get somebody in. So really, I would say you've got it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday. If it's not happened by Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, he's probably going to be there. It's probably going to be there. I think if they're going to do it, they want to do it quick and be ruthless, like they did like they've done in the past. Sacking managers in the tunnel and whatnot. I think if he's going to go Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it'll be quick. If he's still there Monday, he'll be in charge to the rest of the season.
Well, we'll see, Matt. We'll see. I'm sort of sick and tired of talking about it. I just want to see us get some points. I don't care who's managing it.
Do you think we'll get any? Do you think we'll get any Saturday?
I could see it. I could see it being a draw. I could see us getting a point just because Southampton are just as poor. I could see us getting a point.
It could happen.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. I would be pretty surprised if we win. And I don't want to say part of me wants to lose, but part of me just wants this over with. Part of me just wants to.
No, never.
Breath fresh of air in the team. Of course, I want to get all 3 points, and shit, that could maybe happen too. Yeah. I don't know at this point. I don't really know.
You're right, and it's possible. And we said it earlier that maybe we get 3 points, and then they sack him because they've got something else lined up. I mean, the reason we might get something out of that Southampton game is because we suffered on Monday, because them going forward with Aubameyang and Pepe and Martinelli, whatever, that's a pacey attacking force. Arsenal going forward, they piss goals at the back, but they can score. Southampton aren't like that,
right?
So who knows what they think. Either they'll think we've got a soft underbelly and they'll just try and, like Arsenal did, just kind of wear us down and tire us out and then pounce. I don't know, but part of me feels that. I mean, again, if with the squad we've got, if we can't go there and get, if we don't come away with at least a point, then we are. Then I don't know what. I don't want us to lose. I don't want us to get a draw. I want all 3 points. I think anyone that's out there says, "Oh, I hope we lose because then they'll get the sack." Those people are idiots. Straight up, you should never want your club to lose. Never want your team to lose. Ever. Let's have a little bit of pride. But I think win, lose. The reality is, win, lose or draw. I think it's time for a change, and I think it's got to happen after that game. We got that little 12-day window there, and we'll see. Who knows?
Well, let's wrap it up there, Matt, because like I said, I'm sort of sick and tired of talking about West Ham and thinking about it. But we shall see. We shall see.
Someone on this channel should just start an alternative show where they talk about something completely different. Where it's just like a nice little break, so that Tim and Lee, or Gaz, or Charlie Boy, or Neil, or whoever it is just doing a show about something completely different. We can all have a nice little break from going round and round and round with this absolute nonsense. So there you go. Someone might want to do it.
I could talk TV shows. I'm finishing up a good TV show. Maybe, I could talk about that. I could talk about, the weather. I could talk about
where they're
geography.
crocheting. Yeah, absolutely. I bet there are people out there that have got some lovely soup recipes for winter.
Like a nice stew.
Yeah, I don't know.
Nice hearty stew.
I don't know. Maybe nice. Yeah, for sure. Maybe there must be something. There must be some alternative out there because we keep going round and round like this, and it's going to drive everybody mad.
Yeah, it's actually
just as well.
It's frustrating. It's actually like a little tiring at times to talk about it.
It's the worst.
I've only been a fan for this is my 7th season, 6th, 7th. I mean, I can't even imagine what it's been like for you. I mean, maybe I can't because I'm a Bears fan, so maybe that's it. But
it's a similar. And to be fair, like, listen, if you were. Listen, you saw that last season of Bilic, and where there was all that talk about us finishing the Champions League place and this and the other, and now you're seeing us like this. Effectively, if you followed us for 6-7 years, you've seen it all. Except I've just done that for longer. That's all it is. Yeah. I've just done that for longer, and I could get the bus to the game instead of watching it on telly. There's no difference really. It's just round and round we go. It's just let's please get back very quickly to the ups rather than the downs.
Right. All right. Let's end it there, man.
Sounds good.
It's a pleasure, dude.